Good afternoon, allies. I'm heading to Sears right now. They have an attachment, a brush saw attachment for my weed whacker, my convertible weed whacker. I need it for the backyard. I need to tackle some brush. Also, it's just a good tool to have. But while I'm here, I wanted to do a video on practical prepping items that you can find at a Sears. Whenever I go in a store, I'm always looking at like, hey, what are some things that we should look at prepping wise, something to put on a list to come back and buy later, and just keep your eye on it. Gotta love old prepper staple. A staple like Stay-Bil should be in all of your preps. You should always have that for fuel storage. I don't have to tell the allies that are already hams, but having a multimeter and an AC reader clamp meter is a really, really good thing to have. If you don't have one of those, you should probably thinking about getting one. Something decent. $19, $26 is not great, but if that's all you have, maybe step up to the $54 one, perhaps even the $99 one. Although, if you're got that much money to spend, I'd look at something that's not Craftsman. Just my personal opinion. What the hell is Gear Wrench? It's not even a Sears brand, is it? Some kind of cheap Chinese Sears brand? A bench grinder is actually a really good thing to have as well, but that assumes that you've got some kind of stable power that you don't mind wasting it on something like a bench grinder. Same thing goes with the air compressor. Great product to have, but do you want to be losing power, losing your fuel to run it? Use the elbow grease. So guys, here's a prepper tip. If you don't have your hand tools already secured, you're not working with something that you already know how your tools work, then don't go and get power tools or air compressor tools or anything like that, because ultimately they're gonna break on you. You're gonna need alternative power, you're gonna need fuel to make them run. Go with hand tools, lay down a nice supply of hand tools, a nice collection of hand tools, and only after you've reached a competency in using those do you want to advance to power tools. Now, if you already have all this stuff, you've already purchased this, then that's fine. This is kind of a beginning prepper tip. If you don't have a supply of tools and you're thinking about going out and getting power tools to start, or getting a power tool and then offsetting it with hand tools, don't. Get a full complement of wrenches and screwdrivers and pliers and everything in a well-rounded thing to work on your car and your home, then start splashing in power tools and pneumatic tools. Oh my God, this thing is amazing! I love this thing! This thing is amazing. If you would have told me that this thing would have worked that hard to get that brush knocked down, I wouldn't have believed it. This is a 33cc, I think maybe 2 horsepower, maybe, with that head on there. Oh man. That was amazing. That went way, I mean, I understand brush saws are much more powerful than that normally, but this was fine. This was great. I could use this for my yard, no problem now. I can take rid of all, oh man, so excited. You know, the thing about going to Sears is, at least when I was a kid, we went there a lot. My dad had all his tools from Sears, and I always remembered how it used to be, and how it is now kind of bums me out a bit. I'm going to post a link to one of my older videos talking about Sears and how we generally kind of have to start moving away from Sears because the name and what it stood for back in the day doesn't exist anymore. They've largely started watering down their name as far as quality is concerned, and I think it's going to be a downhill spiral for them largely. You may ask, well, why'd you make a video there then? Well, I had to go get some tools today. And the reason why I needed that specific tool is because that's what my 2-stroke weed whacker is a Sears Craftsman weed whacker that I've had for a very long time. So I might as well try and use all those attachments up before the thing dies and then, you know, save me from having to get a standalone brush saw. Anyway, question of the day. Have you bought any tools recently that would fulfill a preparedness role that you'll kind of think maybe I gotta hang on to these, or maybe get a separate set, something you put away that you know is gonna have value in the case that, you know, something bad would ever happen? Sometimes I look that way, I think that way when I go to different places. I'd like to know what you think too. Guys, if you enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up. If you have not already, please subscribe. I'd love it if you shared this with all your friends, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.